About a quarter of all couples are thrown into this category of what's called unexplained infertility. We know you're infertile because you've not been able to conceive within a year's period, but we don't know why.
From day one, we talked about having children, from when we first started dating.
I mean, she was in love with me, which I'm like, okay, might as well, yeah.
I hope you were in love with me too.
Absolutely.
Now I look back and I'm like, really? You thought that you would get pregnant on the day of, the wedding? I was doing the temperature, I was doing ovulation strips, and I was doing everything, and perfect timing every time, and there was nothing.
She had to go through a battery of tests to see what might be going on with her fertility health, whereas with me it was just a simple semen analysis, and every time the results indicated that I was in good health as far as fertility goes.
Hazel and Vimal came to me years ago trying to learn more about what they needed to do to have a baby. And they just wanted an answer. On my initial exam with Hazel, I noticed that her uterus was probably not going to help us reach our goals. It just made sense for us to consider a gestational carrier.
To me, surrogacy was so hard to reach. We spent so much money already on this journey, and I couldn't imagine spending more money, but at the same time couldn't imagine not having kids.
If this is the only way, then should we do it? I'm like, nah. I was like, absolutely.
Once we decided to use a surrogate, we thought, oh, we're free and clear, this should work. After our first transfer, the surrogate had a miscarriage.
Everything should have been fine. We had the best uterus, the best eggs, and the best embryos. And so it's more like by just process of elimination, could it be me? And I was open to, let's just get this checked out.
I think that in general, fertility care is very biased towards female. It's reproductive health is women's health. Now it's very well understood that it's not just about sperm contributing DNA, but how that DNA is contributing to making the embryo.
I saw a Google alert for a test, and I said, I wonder if this might help them. So I called the company, and it's Episona, and they immediately made their test available to us.
People, as they age, these alterations, these epigenetic alterations begin to accumulate in the DNA and change the way the sperm work. And you would never recognize that with any other available test.
I was fascinated by the results. I had no idea that there could even be a test like this that could help me make decisions for patients when they were going through IVF and change the treatment.
The process of actually taking the test is pretty simple. You can get a kit sent to your home, you collect a sample, they send it into our lab, the lab processes the sample, we get a data file, we analyze that data looking at alterations in the sperm epigenome, and if we see them, then we report on them.
Dr. Amy called me about the beta results. She's like, are you sitting down? She's like, I'm crying here. She's like, yep, we got pregnant with twins and 38 weeks, 2 days, and they were born.
Hazel and Vimal were my very first patients to benefit from the Episona test. And since that experience, I make sure that all my patients know about it, and I want everyone to know about it.
We just launched a product about a year ago, and today, fortunately, Hazel and Vimal have 2 children. That is what inspires us.
I have held babies before, but they all belong to someone else. So I would just hand them back and I would feel a little sad or bummed, but whatever. But this one was my little girl, and there was going to be another little boy that was also ours.
It's so amazing that after so many years, finally this dream came true. It's just something that I thought that would never happen. And so finally after it happened, it's just, it's just so surreal.